Hare Krishna. Welcome to a video that I've titled The Amazing Magic Behind Sanskrit. For a while now, I wanted to talk about how words in Sanskrit are created and why there are so many words all indicating the same object. We all know usually a person has one official name, maybe a nickname, a name that he's called at home, maybe a pen name, and so on. So for a person, you might know about 4 or 5 different names. But in Vedic culture, we know that there are gods and goddesses with multiple lists of names, 108 names, 1000 names, 1008 names, and so on. So before we get into how those names are derived, we need to understand how Sanskrit is different from other languages. Most languages, natural languages, evolve over time. For example, if you look at English in the Middle Ages and English now, it's changed significantly. In fact, we probably wouldn't even understand what was spoken then. Whereas you have standardized languages like programming languages, computer languages like Java and Python, where there are fixed rules which you must follow in order for that language to make sense. Sanskrit is one such designed language. It is created to convey knowledge without any ambiguity. It has a very fixed set of rules. There is a very well-defined grammar and syntax which allows you to create words and express what you're feeling without any ambiguity whatsoever. Therefore, each word does not refer to an object, but it refers to an attribute of that object. And because of that, you can have hundreds and thousands of names for a person. Let's take an example of the Vishnu Sahasranama. It has 1008 names for Lord Sri Vishnu. One name is Vishnu, which means his attribute of being all-pervading. Swayambhu. He exists by himself. There is no cause for him to be born. Pushkaraksha. Aksha means eye. Pushkara, lotus. So one who has eyes like the petals of a lotus. Suresha. Isha means the Lord. Sura, the Devatas. Amrita. Mrita means death. Amrita, one who never dies. Krishna, one who has the attribute of being attractive. In all these names, an attribute is being expressed. Every word in Sanskrit, therefore, has a meaning. A single object, therefore, can have multiple names based on the various attributes that it has. Let's take the example of lotus. Kamala. The other names of lotus are Jalaja, Varija, Ambuja, Neeraja, and Pankaja. Let's take another word. Samudra, which means sea. The synonyms are Jaladhi, Varidhi, Ambudhi, Neeradhi. Now you see that the two words Kamala and Samudra have the words Jala, Vari, Ambu and Neera common to them. Jala, Vari, Ambu and Neera refer to water, or basically the attributes of water. Ja means born from. So born from Jala, born from Vari, Varija, born from Ambu, Ambuja. So born from water, the lotus. Lotus is born from the water. Also, lotus is born from mud. Panka basically means mud, the attribute of mud, muddiness. Pankaja, born from muddiness. Samudra, Jaladhi. Now the word dhi here means an abundance. So an abundance of jala, water. An abundance of water, the ocean, the sea, samudra. Jaladhi, vari dhi, ambu dhi. Abundance of water, the ocean. The word Kamala basically means the attribute of having a pale red color. And samudra is made up of two words, sam, which means a gathering, and udra, which is an attribute of water. Now, since we know these words, we can actually create new words. For instance, pankadhi, which means an abundance of mud. So if your river floods its banks, pankadhi is what you're going to have. Kamalaja, which is another name for Brahma, born of the lotus. Lakshmi Devi's name is Jalaja, Ja being feminine. Jalaja, Jala, water, born from the water, Jalaja. Now another word which we are very familiar with is Dvija. Ja, born, Dvi, twice, which is where the translation twice born comes up. Dvija means twice born. Dvija does not only mean a Brahmana. Dvija also is another name for the birds because they are born twice. One when the egg is laid and second from the egg. In the Bhagavatam, Dvija also means teeth because our teeth are born twice. Let's take another example. A tree. A tree in Sanskrit is called, well, really nothing because we need to look at its attributes. One of the names of a tree is Vriksha. Vriksha means something that is cut and fell down. Another word is Taru. Taru means something that floats. Padapa. Pada means foot. Pa, pibati, drinks. Something that drinks using its feet. Now, with this, we can get creative. Khaga means bird. So khagi would mean one that holds birds. And because a tree is born from earth, we could probably call a tree bhuja. Bhu for the earth. Ja, remember? We said ja means to be born. So born from the earth. So in this way, in Sanskrit, we can actually create a lot of words. Sanskrit is therefore all about names of attributes and properties, not of things and objects. Now, once we know that, we need to understand how these words actually can be created. In Sanskrit, every word is derived from a root word called dhātu. A dhātu is defined as a word with a precise meaning. The meaning does not change. That word can then be expanded to form new words. There are roughly about 2,200 dhatus in Sanskrit. For instance, the dhatu jan. So on the screen you see jan, and before that you see a small tick mark. It's the mark that looks like the square root symbol. That is usually used to indicate a dhatu. So the dhatu jan has the meaning pradurbhave, meaning to be born. Therefore, when you see a word ending in ja, jalaja, varija, ambuja, niraja, pankaja, you know that ja refers to the act of being born, the attribute of being born. The dhatu da has the meaning dane, to give. Varada, one that gives a boon. Yashoda, she who gives fame. Manada, she who gives respect, or to one to whom respect is given. Similarly, we have another dhatu, gam, gatau, means to go. Khaga, a bird. Why? Because kha means sky. Ga, going, one that goes in the sky, a bird. I suppose you could call an aeroplane khaga as well. Mriga, mr, one that goes out to kill. Marayati, mr, ga, that's a predator. So a lion would be called mriga. Turaga, tura, one that goes very fast, a quick mover. Turaga, horse. Uraga, one who moves on his belly, a snake. Similarly, another root is pash, bandhane, to bind. Pashu, one who is bound by a rope. Pashu, a cow. Now, you would not call a cow mriga because a cow is not a predator. Similarly, you will not call a lion pashu because it's not a domesticated animal. So, how many words can one derive from a dhatu in Sanskrit? The word, of course, will have the dhatu. It may have a prefix, upasarga, and it will have a suffix, a pratyaya. A pratyaya is what converts the dhatu into a noun or a verb. 3 types of pratyaya are used to create the nouns. These are linga, vachana, and vibhakti. Linga means gender, 3 genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter. Vachana means how many. So again, there are 3, singular, dual, and plural. And vibhakti, which adds the grammatical case endings like locative, dative, and so on. There are 7 vibhaktis. The pratyayas that convert a dhatu into verbs are also 3 in number. They are lakara, vachana, and purusha. Lakara adds the tense and mood context. So there are 10 lakars. 6 of them indicate tense and 4 indicate the mood. So 3 lakars indicate past tense, 2 future tense, 1 present tense, and then there are moods like whether an action is a command, a wish, a request, a probability, and so on. We have 10 lakars, 3 vachana again, singular, dual, and plural, ekavachanam, dvivachanam, and bahuvachanam, and 3 purushas. Purushas are the grammatical persons, first person, second person, and third person. In Sanskrit, the first person is I or we, second person is you, and third person is he, she, or they. Adding a pratyaya, you can convert a dhatu into either a noun or a verb. For example, if you take the dhatu gam, which means to go, you can have gami, which means one who goes, or gacchati, which means he goes. Gami is the noun, the doer, one who goes. Gacchati, saha gacchati, he goes. When you add an upasarga, which is a prefix, Panini in his Ashtadhyayi has given 21 specific upasargas. Upasargas indicate the direction of a dhatu. What I mean by that is, for instance, take a as an upasarga with gam. Gam means to go. A means to move towards. A gacchati, a gacchati, he comes. Similarly, nir gacchati means he moves away from. In this manner, each dhatu can generate more than 100,000 words just by itself, each with a precise meaning. I'll let that sink in. Each dhatu, so we said there are about 2200 dhatus. Each dhatu can generate more than 100,000 words, each of them distinct with precise meaning. Now, each distinct word can then be combined with another distinct word to create a new word. And that method is called samas. Now, once you create a word, a new samas, you can actually, that becomes a new word, remember? You can create more and more and more new words. Now, as an example, let's look at the kru dhatu. Kru, to do. So here's a list of words which have had a suffix added to them, which are derivable directly from the kru dhatu. So you have krita, something that is done, kritavan, someone who has done, kriti, an object that is the result of what has been done, kartavya, something that must be done, karaniya, something that should be done, karya, whatever is doable, kritya, something that is to be accomplished. Karma, work. Kara, something that helps accomplish a task. So kara means hand. Kara, author. Karta, doer. Kriya, activity. Karana, something that helps in doing, instrument. Karana, something that makes someone do something, a reason. Karishnu, something that keeps on doing. Kritrima, something that is done intentionally, can also mean artificial. Karmuka, a catalyst. Karmatha, clever at doing something. Kratu, a plan. Chikirsha, a desire to do something, enthusiasm. So all these words above contain the dhatu kr exactly one time. Now these words are derived by using various rules of grammar, which Sri Panini has laid out in the Ashtadhyayi. Once you have these words, you can combine one or more of these words to create a new word. So you can have krita, something that is done, and kartavya, something that must be done. And we can generate a word which is krita kartavya, someone who has done something that must be done, which means someone who has performed his duty. Similarly, we can combine other words, krita karaniya, someone who has done what he should have done. Karmakara, the one who does work, a servant or a worker. Krita kritya, one who has attained an object. Karanakara, the cause of a reason, and so on and so forth. Now, here you see that the kr dhatu has been used exactly 2 times in each of these words. Now, there is no limit to how many times a dhatu can appear in a particular word, which means you not only have one dhatu in one word, you can have multiple dhatus in each word. For instance, look at this particular word. Krita tirtha, one who has visited holy places. Kru and tru, these are the 2 dhatus that are here. Kritagya, one who acknowledges past services or deeds. Kru and nya. Look at the last one here. Kritodvega nada. Krita udvega nada. One who makes sounds due to agitation or excitement. Here you have 3 dhatus. Kru, vij and nad. So I'm truly grateful to this source, this website, Uttishta Bharata, who had this list of words that have been derived from the kr dhatu. So with this you see that there is really no limit to the number of words that can be derived from one dhatu or using multiple dhatus. Now what is the implication of this? This means that we really don't need to borrow words from other languages to describe even new latest inventions. For example, a computer. We just call it Sanganakam. Sang means perfect. Ganakam, Ganayati, one that counts, one that helps you count perfectly. So one that helps you compute perfectly is a computer. So we don't need to actually get words from other languages. Another word, for instance, would be a bicycle. Bicycle, 2-wheeler. That would be dvichakrika. What this means is for one object, there can be multiple names. And the reverse is also true. What it also means is that one word can mean many different things, objects, persons, places, and so on, which means meaning becomes context sensitive, which is why when we are translating verses and so on, we have to look at the context. We cannot just translate the words. Also, another wonderful implication is that just one word or one syllable can actually reveal multiple information, multiple meanings. And the example I have here is the Citra Kavitvani of Srila Rupa Goswami. There is a beautiful video on YouTube which has various compositions of Srila Rupa Goswami, where he actually uses just one alphabet to create poetry, just the alphabet Ra. And then there are other verses where he has created designs. So it reads in one way, but then you can actually put it into a design, and the whole verse comes alive in the form of a lotus, or in the form of a snake, or in the form of a beautiful design. I'll put the link to that video in the description to this video. If you find time, please do watch it. It's a wonderful, wonderful video. And another implication is that you don't really need to memorize names for objects. You can just create one. Of course, this is subject to conditions. And what I mean by that is you should know the rules of grammar in order to be able to do that. With that, we come to the end of this presentation. I hope I have been able to convey a tiny bit of the excitement that I feel when I am learning Sanskrit. And I hope this will help you also become interested in this absolutely wonderful language. Thank you. Hare Krishna.